Welcome to another YouTube video on semi-solid calculations. Calculations specifically for your ointment, your creams, and paste. We're not including gels in this. And so we have a formulation. Semi-solid, we normally have stocks in our pharmacy or storehouse that carries a known concentration. And from here on, students should be comfortable if a stock is written as a ratio strength, which is lightening 1 gram of the drug in relation to the rest of the diluent and the base, the total ointment or stock, or it can be written as percentage. Remember, we expressed in the last recording or the one before that ratio strength is to eliminate percentage written in decimals and zeros to prevent errors. And if you notice pharmacy practice, we try to eliminate zeros and decimal to reduce our errors in the practice. So here's a prescription for calamine 2% ointment. But here we're fixing a portion of the stock. It's a condition for the question. And it's really designed like this to see if you understand what it means for a portion of an ingredient and its constituents, what it's made up of. This will come again in fortification of semisolids. When we are fortifying or adding more active drug to an existing stock of ointment or cream, we have to appreciate that a portion of it is fixed, cannot be changed. And that's the basic principle here. So this question is really prepping your minds so that when you reach fortification of semi-solid, you are more comfortable or confident. So let's look at it. The question asks for 15 grams of calamine ointment 2%. The conditions are that there's a fixed amount of calamine 2.5% ointment, 5 grams, that must appear in your new formula. So you cannot change that. So there is drug being carried by this ointment. And we talk about aliquot. Aliquot is a known portion of a dilution that was made. So here we have a stock. This is a dilution that was made. The identity here is that it's 2.5%, which means 2.5 gram of calamine is in every 100 gram of this stock on your shelf. But we are using 5 grams of it, and so we need to check using ratio and proportion how much drug is being carried by that. So let's look at it. The prescription asks for 2% and 15 grams of ointment. So it means we need 0.3 grams of calamine. But the calamine, this 0.3 grams is coming from two places. The stock ointment, which is very fixed, and the pure powder, which is designated as 100%. So how much drug is being carried by the fixed stock? 2.5 grams is in 100 gram of that stock ointment. And so how much drug is in 5 grams would be 0.125 grams. So the deficiency, the deficit that the pure calamine powder needs to fill would be 0.3 gram, what we need minus what we have. And so the deficit is 0.175 gram. How does this look? Our ointment is 15 grams. We know that 5 gram will be the stock ointment that is carrying the 0.125 grams. So in this green 5 gram here, there's a hidden 0.125 grams of calamine plus 0.175 grams of additional calamine. And so the ointment base that is needed is 9.825 gram. A student may say, Miss, I don't understand. Why don't you subtract the 0.125 gram here? No. The 0.125 gram calculation is only done to find out how much additional calamine is required. But it has nothing to do with the ointment base needed to make a 15 gram product. So look at it carefully. If we were calculating the ointment base needed, so we're moving on to the white soft paraffin, which is to be added up to the 15 gram. Remember, we never write a new formula using add up to 15 gram for semi-solid. We always calculate what we need to weigh. A new formula needs to tell explicitly clear what you're weighing and measuring. And so if a student should say to me 15 grams minus 0.125 gram of calamine and minus the 0.175, the additional 14.7 grams of ointment base is needed, that student would be wrong. Because if you should give me 14.7 gram of white soft paraffin, 5 grams of the fixed ointment, and 0.17 gram of calamine, I'm sure if you add that up, it does not add to 15. And so students, you have to always add, see, always add to make sure that the recipe adds up to the total, and that's how you know if you're on the right track. So if we add 5 grams of ointment, which is hidden, in it it's hidden 0.125 grams of calamine, additional calamine powder, which is 0.175 gram, and white soft paraffin 9.825 grams, you'll see that it all adds up to 15 gram. If a student should give us QS 15 gram, penalty will be applied because we will not know how much white soft paraffin to be weighed and measured. That calculation would have been incomplete. And so here on screen is what we expect or anticipate in your calculation for a new formula is explicitly clear what is to be weighed and measured. A master formula is a proposal in parts and units for what you are proposing to use. So a master formula can have the add up to for semi-solids, but not for the actual calculation. And that takes us to the end of the video on using a fixed amount of stock to make your ointment, appreciating that a stock ointment has its own identity and carries its own concentration and is carrying along with it some of the ingredient, and a stock ointment can be the source of a drug as well as the pure powder can be the source of a drug. In pharmaceutical calculation and pharmacy practice, calamine pure powder is treated as 100%. Once it is diluted with something, it's given a concentration that gives it its identity. Like this video if it has been beneficial, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel while I develop more content like these for you. Thank you.